What's going on, everybody? Don here, and hopefully everybody had a nice, relaxing holiday weekend. Here in the U.S., all of the well, now that we're in the release week for Destined Rivals, I want to go through Scarlet and Violet booster box pricing, and it's something we did about a week and a half ago, but I did a video a little bit ago and just kind of talked about the pendulum of spend as it swings from Sword and Shield to Scarlet Violet, back to Sword and Shield, where everybody seems to be looking for bargain hunting, and every time the pendulum swings, the bar gets a little bit higher. And what I mentioned a couple weeks ago was I really expected uh, these Scarlet and Violet sets to now push up, especially the early ones, and that's exactly what we're seeing. So, I want to talk through this. And what I did was I pulled the pricing all the way going back to January. So this way we can show a year to date return on these, which I think is pretty interesting because there is a lot of sell through here. There really is compared to what we normally see on everything except for Journey Together, which is absolutely abysmal. But speaking of Journey Together, I had somebody reach out today from Australia, and apparently this person reached out to a couple different people mentioning that the second wave of Journey Together booster boxes did not have the box topper. We'll see what happens in the US here. I am absolutely certain that there's going to be a second wave at some point. The market doesn't need it now because it would absolutely crush the market. But when the time comes, we'll find out. It'll be super interesting to see what the situation is here. So let's go to SVBase. And what we're going to see here consistently is every single product is at an all-time high, except for the products that recently got a reprint or have the threat of a reprint, or Destined Rivals, which is, a couple days shy of release week. And this is what we see. We see the price starting to come down as all of the stores get unlocked from pre-order requirements. So once that goes away, any riffraff can sell a box at any price on TCG Player, and it's a race to zero for a little bit. So SVBase, $219. I mean, these were $135 at the end of the year, and this was kind of like the garbage set. What's interesting is we'll talk through a return because I have everything ranked down below. The return is really a function of how low the buy-in point was on all of these, because effectively the price point on most of these is very similar. Paldea Evolved, $295. This thing's gone absolutely crazy. Sell-through of 11 boxes now. The sell-through here in column AE, it is inflated a little bit on some of these, mostly Paldea Evolved because of the Mayhem sale. There's like 113 boxes or so that sold. But what's interesting is, as crazy as Paldea Evolved's gone, SVBase has actually outperformed Paldea Evolved as a percentage year to date. Obsidian Flames, again, starting at a higher point at 240 now. I don't know how much higher this can go. I've said this 15 times. The value of the cards in the set's absolute garbage compared to the price point. But they're tough to find, and they keep going up. Paradox Rift, 213. I still think this should be closer to 240, 250. I know there is still some product flowing through the system. So we'll see what happens. 52%. Temporal Forces, the set that absolutely nobody wanted, is now $225. There were rumors of a reprint. I call bullshit on that. I have not heard anything about a reprint. In fact, we did get the second wave of restock in November, December. I mentioned it. Everybody on YouTube said you're full of shit because they just didn't have the right distro connections. It was pretty limited to who it went out to. We actually got ours from 2 distributors that the online folks can use. So, 225, absolutely insane, 55.2%. Twilight Masquerade, 240, again, all-time high. Now, only 42% on this because at year-end, this was the second highest priced box. Well, I guess third, next to Surging Sparks. Stellar Crown, the buy that everybody talks so much shit on. $217, all-time high, 55% return year to date. What makes it even more glorious is going back to my Cyber Monday sale of Surging Sparks at 179.99, and yes, 248 is much better. This is actually the worst performing set. Um, and it's not even close. I mean, Journey Together is down, Destin Rivals is down, but Surging Sparks has effectively been dead money going on 6 months now. So yeah, I sold all that, flipped everything at Stellar Crown at sub $100 in early December, and that was the right move. I mean, you theoretically could have bought any of these sets, but it is what it is. As long as I didn't stay in Searching Sparks, I am absolutely performing gloriously for the year. So moving on to the ETBs. 151 has been pushing all-time highs. I think there's a little bit of hesitance here because there have been some random rumblings, completely unsubstantiated about some ETBs coming to market for 151. I don't believe it for a second. I think it's full of shit. But I think there's been a little bit of hesitancy to buy here. Up 35.8% year to date. Again, the worst performer next to Prismatic, which continues to have product dumped on the market. Still up, by the way. Still up from the 28th of January, which was release day. Release day and the day after release day. And anyway, it was right near the bottom of the dump. Paldean Fates 146 continues to go nuts. I mean, this is kind of my dark horse right now. I mean, these ETBs are going to hit $200 by the end of the year. And I don't even know how much of this, if any, they're going to continue to print. Shrouded Fable at $60, 46%. There's still a good amount of it out there. It's just nobody's going to sell it. Nobody's going to dump it for cheap. If there's a way to get it for cheap, you should probably do so. So let's talk about the year-to-date return. And it's going to kind of be the who's who of garbage sets, at least from what people thought were garbage sets in Q3 of last year. SVBase, by far number one. Paldea Evolved, 59.5. Now, about half of this has been in the last month. Temporal, 55%. Stellar Crown, 55%. Obsidian, 54%. Paradox, 52. Fates, 47. Shrouded, 46. And then Twilight, 42. And 151, 35%. So what's interesting is the specialty sets, because they do have a higher price point, and this is just simple math, the return is a little bit lighter than what it is with booster boxes, which a lot of these could have been had at year end right around $100, 120, 130. Then you get to Prismatic Evolutions. It's just going to sit here. I think at this point, we have the new Costco bundle that's coming out. It looks like there's supposedly approximately 80,000 of them coming to market. I don't know why they're even messing around with it, quite honestly. Blooming Waters was a dumpster fire. We just got the second wave through distro. My theory is there's so much of it coming through distro, it was probably redirected from Costco, but then Costco is going to try this again. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense unless they're going to use a little bit of a different go-to-market strategy. Journey Together. I'm not going to do a whole heck of a lot with this set until we have a second wave going through distribution. One of the weaker sets right now. I'm not a huge fan of the price point, personally, just based on where everything else is. I mean, I'm not really a fan of any of these price points right now. I'm just waiting for things to start to slow down here going into Q3, Q4. And I think they will with the new block and the MEO one coming out in September. Plus, again, increased print capacity that we've talked about at length. Surging Sparks down 7.7% year to date, and then Destin down 13.3%. This is just your normal pre-release drop. So, contrary to what a bunch of YouTubers headlines say, Destin Rivals is not tanking. The end is not near. It's $260 fucking dollars, which is the highest I've seen a booster box in a very long time. So anyway, guys, I just want to walk through this. And again, it does appear that the dollars that were chasing Sword and Shield are now chasing Scarlet and Violet. Again, I think some of these are going to be great deals. I think some of these, or all of these, are obviously at risk at getting reprinted. It would not surprise me if there was some sort of reprint on the early sets at year end. ish before they rotate out in April. It also wouldn't surprise me if it didn't happen. Um, so look, we'll see. But I want to walk through this, guys. So like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk soon. Have a good evening.